Public comment on any item not listed on the agenda. I don't have any public comments up here. Approve the minutes of the August 16th, August 31st, and September 7th meetings. You've got a copy of those agendas in front of you.
August 16th, September 7th. Excuse me, I missed one.
And August 31st.
Now, August 31st, September 7th, September 9th.
August 16th, August 31st, and September 7th. Got a motion from Cecil, a second from Richard. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, same sign. Motion carries. There it is. And there was a September 9th, and I didn't have it in my hand. I didn't want you to read all the lines, didn't it? Got the financial report. Leslie?
This is a financial report with the financial information for July, but enclosed in that is your sales tax all the way through September, which is the end of our fiscal year. And you'll see that we've done well this year with sales tax.
Good deal.
That 9.7 increase, is that from the previous year?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
What is the line, the exact line that it's going to be? This is like something a preschool would do or something.
Yes, I apologize. I will get a current map of that.
Well,
It's 4.87 acres in that part right there. And with Barty's agreement with the EDI purchasing that property is once he was complete, he will get all city services and be brought into the city by voluntary annexation.
Yeah, so the new pink line, does it come to where that corner is of it? Does it go all the way through the the entire Interstate 20 on
No.
the other side, so it stops there
Stops
on
at-
this side?
Yes.
See, that would be good to know.
Yes. You're correct.
So this public hearing, I guess, is for people that wish not to do this, or if they're in favor for
Have
it.
an opinion.
Okay.
But we're not, we didn't go out and use like eminent domain to bring them in.
Yeah.
He-
Yeah, he
he
knew, and that was
voluntarily-
part of the agreement with EDI to begin with.
Yes. Yes.
This bill's already.
Yeah, yeah.
We got this new batteries.
So there's a fence line between him and the other property owner. Is the fence line, is that the?
No. The fence line back,
Is it on the east, is that what you're talking about?
Between Mira Enterprises and them?
Myra doesn't go with it, Myra's.
Right, but there's a fence between them.
Yes.
Is that the new annexation line?
that'd probably be the boundary line.
Yes.
The property that we're annexing in, it was originally part of that big group that whenever we replatted that area, and I guess that's a map that we should have pulled to help show that boundary line, because that's gonna be that property there, and then the property that's still part of EDI are the only two properties that were still included with that replat, but were outside of city limits at that time, and I think at that time we were mentioning that we were gonna be eventually bringing those in, and this is how we're doing it with this annexation.
What was the thinking, like, this current tract, this 100-acre tract originally, it extends all the way through Interstate 20
Here's,
to the other side.
can you see where Bartiz is? It's to Interstate 20.
Well, this pink line that I have is showing it goes on the other side of Interstate 20. Is this not correct?
No, red line's not correct.
The red line's not correct.
The westbound
Westbound,
is.
The
is
south
correct.
side, this
It
is
does
showing
go
the south
across.
side of that property, we on the interstate.
You said the red boundary is the current line, and it goes beyond.
that is the current city limits. It's off our GIS system, is
Okay.
where this picture is off of. The only thing we are bringing in is where, on our side, we're right below the 20, right there. That is all we're bringing in.
What about the purple?
We're not bringing in purple. Does he own that?
No, we
No,
own that.
yeah, you own that.
We
are
really need
not
to know,
bringing
because
it
we
in.
don't know. We're not even talking about the same thing. We're trying to figure it out. We really need to see it.
Well, this is,
So, from what I'm understanding from the documents, this was just for the property that was Bartiz.
That's
That
it.
he purchased off of the EDI. That last lot, 102 block B there is still technically outside the city limits, but it will be brought in eventually as well.
who owns that?
That's EDI's.
Okay, who owns the blue block down there, block B?
EDI.
Why aren't those being done all at one time right now?
Yes.
Well, because the
What EDI
blue
is.
triangle one, everything out there is currently in the city limits, save for Bartiz
Right?
and lot 102. Those were the two that, at the time we did the replat, which identified all of these with this naming convention, were not currently in the city limits. And that's what, and this is the one that we're doing with Bartiz. This is the first time that we're doing a voluntary annexation, and so we did that property by itself with Eileen to learn how to do this process, because we have multiple ones that are gonna be coming behind this. We've got another one coming here in a couple of months. And so that's why we're doing this one here right now, is because Bartiz is building on it, and we're wanting to bring it into the city limits, and that was a
But
component.
why not just include lot 102 block B though?
We can't. They have to petition us to be brought in.
When it was because Bartiz was petitioning to be brought in, that was part of the deal whenever EDI worked with them on that property. And so we just went ahead and did it now to bring it in by the end of the year. So-
And isn't it true now that all annexation has to be requested?
The annexation rules changed, and if you guys remember, we did that resolution a while back over the areas that we were looking at, annexing in the future. However, due to time constraints and other focuses here, we haven't worked on those, and so what we're doing right now is the voluntary annexation where someone petitions to come in. And I think with the resolutions that we did, I don't know if we're gonna be able to continue to do those. That's something I have to visit with Eileen on, because they never did state if there was
We're
any
just
type
doing
of.
this much right here.
Is lot 101 block B, is that inside the
That is
city
in the
limits?
Yes,
That
because
is-
that's why it's got that weird Dorito shape to it.
Yeah.
It's because I think it was all part of that one,
Okay.
and for some reason, that got brought in, but those other two didn't at the time.
Okay.
And I think it may have been an ownership issue.
Part of the situation with RT too, I mean, it's our agreement with them that they would come in as soon as they could. But also, you know, they're already kind of functioning as if they're in the city, they're using city water, city sewer.
Yeah.
And we need to get them on the tax roll by before January the 1, so they'll pay city tax. Comes in after January 1, they get a free year of tax.
Do we have city sewer and water going to lot 102 block B?
No. I mean, it's adjacent to it, it's
It's-
available, but it's not, there's not.
There's no tax.
There's
there
no
at the
services
time.
there yet?
No.
Correct, cause
Okay.
it's not developed, and we don't know how it would be developed going forward, if it'd be
It
broken
runs
down.
along the street.
Zach, you see where that darker pink, purple line is right there on lot B?
I think
Kind of
so.
at the top, it's just kind of a little bit darker, that's where our sewer line
Okay,
runs.
okay,
Right,
along
right,
that
right down
fence
there,
there.
yeah, it runs right along there. Yes, but they could tap it, but no, there is no,
No services being there.
there's no
Okay.
services there.
We're just anxious to get RT in so they can.
Yeah,
get
he's
our
anxious
sales
too.
tax, property tax,
Yeah.
use, sell them water, you know, get return on our investment.
Yep.
And with us doing this is our first one to do as a voluntary annex for this group. And so, you know, we're trying to shake down so we can make sure whenever we do the phones in the future.
What
we
are
know
the
that we
ones
can-
upcoming that you were mentioning?
Well, I know that we have one that, I guess I can talk about it because it's been sold. The Trafalgar Townhomes over by you. They built they're in the process of finishing their phase 2.
Phase 2.
There's such a demand they
Mhm.
have for that property that they bought 4.5 acres behind where they're at to basically double.
Fred
what
Winkler's
we
place.
own. And so with that property, and they are anxious to come into the city. And so we've done a survey with them or they've done the survey work and bought the property. And so that is gonna be coming down the next month. We have all the
Excellent.
stuff to do for them to sign. And so now, you know, with this, we see the need for additional maps, and that's something we can make happen moving forward to make sure that everybody's on the same page. You know, this is our first one with this group. This is my first voluntary annex period. So this is a learning curve for us. And so, you know, when you find stuff like that, if you think it's gonna be stuff that we can help make this easier for everybody, I mean, we'll add it. for sure.
Let me ask, so on the city limits right now, the line right now, with lot 104 block C, which is, I guess it's US Sand and Gravel right there, right? That on here shows it goes all the way to the other side of the interstate.
does.
So what is the thinking here with the Barty, not to do that? I mean,
That's because the I-20 is owned by TxDOT, and so we would have to work with TxDOT to
Okay.
get that part of it to make it uniform. And since they changed all the rules up, that's getting into it. I mean, we're trying to do
complex.
baby. Yeah, we're doing baby steps
Yeah.
right now.
We can't,
We're starting with this one.
Barty.
we can only take in the land that Barty
yeah,
owns.
yeah,
That's
I
it.
understand. Okay.
Yeah, anything like that, you know, the rules changed, 2 years ago, so now it's more, property owner friendly, because now the city can't just go and this is mine, this is mine, this is mine. Now,
Right.
we have to work with property owners to make sure they're getting the services that everybody else in town's getting, that, you know, they're getting everything else and that it's beneficial for everybody involved.
Thank you for explaining that.
Yes, sir.
Pretty good public hearing.
But no, we'll definitely make sure that we got, those maps and surveys in there too, in addition with the other drawings.
That's more activity we've ever had in a public hearing. I'll close the public hearing at 6:17. And now we'll hear the annual report from Eastland Economic Development Incorporated. Mr. Bailey.
Well, my report just whizzed by right there.
Yeah, there it is.
That's good. Anything else?
It was good, that was a good year.
Yeah, thank you.
Short and sweet.
Any questions? No, I just thought a picture's worth 1,000 words. Over here on the right side, you know, that's what we were talking about a while ago. You guys come over here, don't you? That's the patent property. And then the next. Okay, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is one of Barty's machines he just got in. That makes panels, R panels and U panels and all of that, which should take him to another level. We're going fast here. That's all right. That's all right. This is the Red Star before anything. okay? And this is an annual report I'm giving, so hit the next one, Terry. That's what, this time last year, that's what it looked like. That's why I put that slide in there. And then the next slide, that's what it looks like now, obviously. So in this last 12 months, it went from the previous slide to this slide. So that was really my focus here, was to show you what actually happened this year. Next one, please. Now that obviously goes back more than a year, but that's the before picture of the Morgan building. Everybody focused on it? All right, next. That's the new Myra building.
Absolutely unbelievable.
Isn't that incredible?
I saw Michael's football game Friday night and told him, wow, he's really,
He hit a home run. That's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And the nice thing too, it'll attract good neighbors.
and they're supposed to be moving in this week, as I understand it, or at least start.
You know, and looking like we kind of talked about briefly a while ago now, we're adding, our function is that create jobs, create sales tax and tax base. So, now that goes on the tax roll at that value. Bartese goes on, not at the old car lot value, but at the new value. And that's what part of why I showed you that machine. That machine goes on the tax roll. So, I mean, we're growing the tax base. Okay, Terry. This is the piece of land where the Maverick Townhomes is now. This is the before picture. That's the Chevrolet house back in the distance there. We're looking from the west. Okay? And that's the same picture looking now. That's the Maverick Townhomes. And then this is 50 units. No, is that right? Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, that's the first phase. That's first phase.
Yes.
And then the next phase, please. That's the second phase. Those are already about half rented, I think. And then the next phase is back, like he said, south of that. I put the new Burke's outlet up here, and I want to be real clear, this is not an EEDI project because we don't do retail, but it is economic development. We're very excited about that, okay? So for all you viewers at home, we do not do retail. I'm just saying this is a great thing, all right? This is the new location for Tractor Supply, and again, this is not really an EEDI project, but it's an exciting event for our community. This is looking towards a Walmart from the Bankhead Highway. If you haven't been down there, it's incredible how much dirt they've moved in the last week. I mean, it is amazing. But they're building a larger facility there, and I've been in contact with the owner, the president, where they are now, they don't own that building, they lease it. And I've been in contact with the landlord and I've been in contact with a few prospects trying to get someone in that building, because that's the last thing we need, is that thing sitting there empty. So anyway, that's an exciting thing. JJ and I've gone and talked to the realtors about, how this might be connected, and we're real hopeful, and they said they would do it, connect the parking lot here to the parking lot of Walmart for safety for you guys, to ingress, egress. If those pumps, if their gas pumps catch on fire right now, we got a problem. They need another outlet, plus it's good for business for those to be tied together, so we've been having communication there. Yes?
La Hacienda has a parking lot on the
Yes.
Bankhead. Is that next to that parking lot, or is it further
No, sir,
down?
This is next to Mighty Molding.
Okay.
And then Mighty Molding is next to that parking lot, and then Red Star's the other side of that. That's right along Bankhead. Yes, sir. That parking lot's gonna be a valuable piece of property, probably at some point, too valuable for a parking lot. And then, this is part of the old, what's it called? Massengill property, and they own a bunch more back in here, and we've talked to the realtor about trying to make sure that develops well. We don't need, something crummy stuck back there in the back, and the price they're asking for it, it's not gonna be something crummy, it's gonna be something nice. So anyway, let's see, Terry, is there any more? There's that, we're all familiar with that, all right? Building sites, that's our fancy sign JJ and I put up last week. We're pretty proud of that, aren't we? And we're hoping to continue developing. Our focus, we've got the property out in the business park. We've got a lot left there, but it's really taken nicely, shaped nicely. But we can't forget about the property we have out by the airport, the airport industrial area.
Is that where this sign is?
No, so this is on the highway. This is between US Sand and Gravel and Bartee.
Okay.
Where's that phone number entry?
That's my phone. I didn't have a phone. It's kind
I didn't know.
of pitiful, really. But anyway, but the property out by the airport, we've got 20-something acres out there, and
Well, Myers probably helped us move forward with that a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, I think so, I do.
You kinda alluded to that a while ago,
Yes,
so
sir.
I think you.
And we've kind of thrown around the idea, not we, just the city and the airport, and Ron and everybody before, about trying to bring in an air park, where we bring in some businesses that locate there because of the airport and have a taxiway up into that area. So we're, some fun ideas, just a lot of money. So, but anyway, it'd be kind of cool, and, Batiste has a plane, the folks at Maverick Logistics have a plane. It'd be kind of fun to run a taxiway up in there and develop that as a true air park, business park. So we'll see. Fun to dream. So, any questions about anything?
Thank you very much.
Doing a good
Appreciate it.
job.
Outstanding job.
Yep.
All right, item number 8, the Bowie City Commission may discuss and take action on the following agenda items. Number 1, discussion and consideration of closing the streets of Commerce, Olive Lamar, and Mulberry for Rip Fest, which will be held October 2nd, 2021.
Yes, everybody knows Rip Fest is coming up in a couple weeks. I'm excited, my first one to go to,
Hell
so
yeah.
I'm excited. We have this map, but there's also gonna be another map. The big dots are text dot barricades, and really only the city is closing down the area around the square. They've already applied and got permission with text dot for the state highways to be Main Street, I guess, to be closed during the parade. And as you can see, these are the yellow dots, that's the city's barricades, and Main Street and Seaman Street.
Yeah, I move we close those streets on October 2nd for Rip Fest.
Second.
A motion from Zach and a second from Richard. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 2, discussion consideration of EEDI 2021-2022 budget.
All right, school teacher in me, I gotta have a handout. And I apologize that you didn't have this ahead of time, but this was only approved by the EDI board at noon, so would have been a bit presumptuous to send it out prior to that.
Yeah.
Really, our budget doesn't change much from year to year, and it's really kinda like nailing jello over the wall. We have no idea what our needs are gonna be, we have no idea who's gonna walk in with a potential project.
55K
So
increase.
there's not a lot of science in here.
Pressure's on.
Our city sales tax, we anticipating, our budgeting $482,500, which is significantly more than we budgeted last year, but it's still less than we brought in last year. So we feel comfortable, and that's the number that the city used in their budget. Lease income, most of that's the helicopter. We own the helicopter landing site out there, and they lease that from us. That little dab of interest. You'll notice the ramp income. We're not budgeting anything for ramp next year out at the airport. Some of that's like that 50-50 money. But I will say, I'm speaking a little out of school, but I think if the right project showed up and it was 50-50 money and we had to make some kind of budget transfer to make that happen, I don't think that'd be difficult to do. The grant income from Red Star project is over. That's closed out, so that's not in there. Business incentives, that's just what we have allocated to help businesses with. The Morgan Building property, that's over, so there's nothing there. The University Drive project is over, there's nothing there. Property development, property maintenance, I wanna show you the business park development. And this, we're gonna talk about this in a minute, but this is to pay for Bowie Street. And when Richard was on the EDI board back when they put in the business park, the center road there, which is Bowie Street, was always intended to be the main industrial road in. And it was always planned to be concrete, and that's still the feeling everyone has. With the, truck traffic, if we can get a distribution center, whatever we have, they're gonna need one serious road coming in and out of there, and that's Bowie Street. And I have the bids for that, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But we have budgeted $450,000 for that street. It's a lot. But it's 900 feet of street, most of it curb and gutter. I do want to, at this point, I'll draw your attention to the bottom line down there. You'll see $318,400 in parentheses, which is generally not good when you see something. But we are going to have to dip in the fund balance to build that road. And we have I believe it's $919,000 in the bank. So anyway, we feel comfortable that we'll be fine, but I did want to point out that will make our budget a deficit budget. The rest of this is, got my outrageous salary in there, legal services, what we pay the city for administrative services, down there at 8505 at marketing. That's our support to the Chamber of Commerce. We're not allowed to help, directly help retail, but we can help the chamber, and then they can advertise and promote retail. So that's under the marketing arm of our organization. The rest of that's just some travel, dues, conferences, meeting expense. That's for that pizza we eat, that meeting expense. That's, you've never been to EDI meeting, we have some really fancy pizza from Domino's, so you're welcome to that anytime. Any questions about the budget?
Good work. Good hands. Anybody have any questions for Tom? Do we need to approve this budget?
Yes, sir.
I move we approve the budget for 2022, Economic Development Corporation.
A motion from Richard and a second from Cecil. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Tom, you're coming in.
We don't approve it yet.
Are you back again?
I'm telling you.
Get mad.
Who's my boy? Alright, what we got here?
Deficit spending.
We gotta go to item 3, this is item 4.
What's three? The reappointment of the people, yeah. Boy, I get three, you know. I used to teach math and I didn't go.
Are both Ms. Bradley and Dr. Cochran amenable to serving again?
Yes, sir, they are. And our board voted to nominate them today at noon. I apologize, got a little excited, but.
I move that we reappoint Becky Bradley and Jason Cochran to the Economic Development Board.
Second. And a motion from Richard, a second from Cecil to reappoint Vicky Bradley and Jason Cochran. Anyone have any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
I'm all figure out.
Now we're gonna go, you got me out. Getting tired, uh-oh.
We've been talking about that street for quite a while, out Bowie Street, and I apologize for babbling about that too soon. But, we bid that last month, and it just came in excessively high. It was $430-something thousand, as I recall. We had that bid on. And so we rebid it, tried to make it, cheapen it down a little. We're gonna, let them stockpile and reuse some of the available base material that's out there. We instead of including the curbing, we included it as an alternate, a bid alternate. And the low bid was radon. And let's look at the second page of this, if we could, for just a second, and then we'll go back to the first page. But if you look at the second page, the spreadsheet, am I with me? It wants to be with me? Okay. If you look at the columns at the top, it says Radon Incorporated, Bo Simon Incorporated, and XIT Paving and Construction Incorporated. That's our three bidders, okay? The one that I circled there, that's Radon. If you follow down the Radon column, you'll see that their base bid was $342,435.70. Now that's compared to $383 from Bo Simon and $436 from XIT. So, you can tell that the base bid is significantly lower. If you look at the alternate, which is to what they call monolithic curb and concrete paving, that would be $11,235 extra, which both Simon was $12,844 and XIT was $14,445. So both the Radon was both cheaper on the base bid and the bid alternate, and the total bid there was $353,670.70. So that was what, at least $60,000 cheaper than the first time we bid it. So that was good to get essentially what we wanted all along. So here's the recommendation from Improtech Hibbs and Todd Scott Hay. Bids for the, I'll just read you this if you don't mind. Bids for the reference project were opened on September 17th, 2021, and 3 bids were received. A summary of the bids is presented on the attached tabulation of bids. The low bidder was Radon Inc. from Abilene, Texas. The responsiveness of Radon Inc. for conformity with all material conditions of the advertisement to bid, and the information for bidders has been evaluated based upon the responses from references, responsiveness to requests for information, and recent first-hand experience. It is recommended that the reference project be awarded to Radon Incorporated as the lowest qualified bidder, with a total contract price of $353,670.70 for the base bid, plus additional, and I think it really meant including the alternate bid. So, anyway, that's the recommendation from EHT. The EDI board voted at noon to recommend doing this. This is over the $100,000 threshold that we can do without commission approval, so here I am asking for commission approval. So, and it's also city property, so.
There are two streets out there. One is Bowie, one is Crockett. Is that right?
Yes.
So which one is Bowie? Is that the one by the Bartee, or is that the one by the dealership?
It's one about dealership. It has some partial paving, some partial asphalt. We'll tag onto that.
And how far will you be going with that?
900 feet.
Does that
All the way to Bonham. All the way to the old bank.
all the way to the bottom? Okay.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And that includes the intersection, I guess you'd call it, with Bonham. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So the water all gets out where it's supposed to go.
Let's say you build this project and you have this nice road that goes nowhere right now. I mean, is what's stopping people, businesses from moving there, is because there's not a road there? I mean, what if you waited until there was a business and then said, all right, we're going to build it, we've got the money and we can get it approved and go from there?
Part of the deal is
there a risk in building it and just having it sit there for a long time?
well, there's always a risk when you step out in faith and hope something, leap of faith, so to speak, But you gotta remember too that, US Sand and Gravel is already built there and Black Fullenwider's already there. So about a little over half of this will serve areas that we already have. In other words, we have an obligation to US Sand and Gravel to build them a street that's functional. Does that make sense? Then the other half of that, we really feel like that, it'll make it look better, make it look like we're serious. It'll look like when people, it's just like buying a house, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. You drive up out there and look around and it either looks like a place you want to be or it doesn't. And so if we say, well, I know it looks like a field now, but we're gonna have a road and we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, it really all needs to be in place. So, cause when somebody wants to put in a store, distribution center, or whatever, they wanna put it in right now. And they don't want us to bid and it takes 6 months to get them a road. So, also remember this will serve all the way across the back. This will get you into the park all the way back to the back. So, I think short answer is no. I don't think it's a waste,
If you build it, they will come.
I think so.
Well, that's what happened with when we acquired the industrial.
No, I think that, yeah, I think it's gonna be dressing it up, but I do think it's time to do it.
The exit ramp that's gonna be moved, is it going to be behind that road where they could exit and then immediately turn onto?
We hope it will.
Bowie?
JJ and I visited with TxDOT and they're not certain exactly where they're gonna put the road. They've got issues about, space requirements, for, easements and such. They're a little bit concerned that they'll get too close to the ramps in Olden. In other words, if you come up that mountain, that scary ramp that's in Olden, and you get up there, if the ramp's too close getting off, then you've got a conflict of traffic out there. And then, we gotta deal with the creek. So, long story short, they're not sure where they're gonna put it. What we asked for was for them, and it's what Ron asked for in his letter originally, was that it be moved to the 343 exit.
Is that about where Mira is?
Yes. it
Okay.
is. Yes, sir. And that's where we would like to have it, but I don't wanna stand here and tell you that's where it's gonna be, because they're looking at other issues.
345.
Would holding off the decision to build a street until they decide where to put the exit ramp, would that be any benefit? If they move it beyond Bowie Street, is that going to hinder businesses from wanting to locate there?
We got several $1 million tied up in the business park. I mean, we need to develop it like we're serious or we don't.
We can't wait on time
that ramp, wherever that ramp hits, we gotta deal with it.
How long
Hopefully it'll
TechSpot
be
been gonna do
perfect.
this?
Sir?
How long TechSpot been gonna do something?
Well,
They've been
right,
gonna fix the sidewalk downtown for 2 years now.
right now,
I mean, we
it's on their radar to do the study, to do the paperwork and the drafting next year, and then it'll be built the next year, so we're 2 years out anyway. I want that business park to be full when it gets there,
Yeah,
frankly.
it's already, they've already put two businesses right there on
Yes,
it,
sir.
so it needs to be done.
Yeah.
Zach, and when we talked with Tech Dot, sorry to interrupt.
No, no.
One of the issues with our service roads is they're two-way. And when they build an off-ramp on a two-way service road, it dramatically changes how they have to build that. And they don't know if they have enough, where they're gonna have enough room to do that. And what they said is they're trying to avoid shutting down the service roads, making them one-way,
Right.
westbound and eastbound, and that's it.
It's
Because
kind
we
of
all
a-
know you'd have to go all the way to Olden to come back
It's kind of
around.
a be careful what you ask for.
Yeah.
If you press too hard to get it where we might want it, then all of a sudden the road's one way and then we look like idiots instead of heroes. One last thing I'll tell you about the concrete thing, it'd be cheaper to do it all at once. And nobody knows what the price of concrete will be in a year or two, but historically it hasn't gone down. So it's, just anytime you pour concrete, it's better to do it all at once.
What's your recommendation,
I
Jay?
move we approve.
I think we should do it.
I move we approve the.
Will you make that motion that you approve it with I wanna make a note that this letter has plus instead of including. That's only $11,000, but we need to make sure that that's in there. This gets corrected.
Yeah, I did do that,
Yes, sir.
yeah, for sure.
I
With the.
kind of read it out loud, I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
The curb needs to be in
Yes, sir.
So you got that motion, Richard?
there. I'm moving.
Okay.
Now, just a clarification, the curbing as it's presented just goes past US Sand and Gravel. And the reason it's not curved beyond that was partially cost and partially kind of back to what you're talking about is we don't know how that's gonna develop. So if you put in curbs, where do you put the curb cuts? Because the businesses don't exist. So that's kind of the thought there.
It's good.
I'll second Richard's motion.
Motion from Richard, a second from Cecil. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank
Item
you very
number
much.
5.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate everything you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Number 5, discussion and consideration of second reading of ordinance 21-877, authorizing the issuance of the City of Eastland, Texas General Obligation Refunding Bonds, Series 2021, appointing a pricing officer and delegating to the pricing officer the authority to approve the sale of the bonds, levying an annual and ad valorem tax, and providing for the security for the payment of said bonds, and enacting other provisions relating to the subject.
Are you and JJ, willing to accept that responsibility?
Sure.
Yes.
Then I would move that we approve on second reading ordinance 21-877.
This is the one where you save almost $300,000.
Yes, sir.
I'll second it.
Got a motion from Cecil.
Are you sure?
$300,000 savings, good.
Motion from Cecil and a second from Richard. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. You don't wanna save $300,000?
No, it doesn't mean a thing.
Okay, well, I'm glad you said that.
Wow. Number 6, discuss consideration and approval of grant application for 2022 Historical Preservation Grant.
Yes, sir. Terry?
Yes, sir. The Historic Preservation Board has approved these 3 grants, and would like the commission to approve them also. They approved giving the Bird family in the Eastland Historic Hotel $6,518. That's towards a $46,518 roof project. Their insurance is covering the $40,000. So since they were contributing well over 86%, the board voted to give them the 100% of the $6,518 that they requested for the difference. The Community Foundation had 3 separate grants. all, again, roof repair, at the Connolly, and then downspout and a concrete pad for the lumber yard to help flow the water away. The board approved $8,348.50 towards a $16,696 total project. And then the Baptist Church, First Baptist Church, they are going to have to put a roof on the States Oil building, which is the old education building, the Angel Closet building, as people know it now. And that's a $23,900 project, and the board approved 50% at $11,950. Total grant awards would be $26,816.50. We've always been budgeted $35,000 to use each year, which would leave $8,183.50. We always like to, if there's any money, especially left over, we like to kind of hold that in contingency in case any of those three projects have an issue. You know, when you're doing roof repairs, Sam can tell you, when you pull that roof off, you don't know what you're gonna find in there, you know. So, we like having some money when it comes to dealing with roofs, just in case. And then, once the three projects are completed and they've been reimbursed, whatever money's left, the board will come up with a project to use it either on the square with trash cans, park benches or something, or possibly visit with another property, that might could use it to improve their property or something. The Baptist Church would like to do some more things to the States Oil building, and that would help them out, and we'd really like to save that building because it has a lot of history. So,
Does EHP already have the money for, or we?
no, this would be for the, starting October 1 budget, the next budget. So these projects would not start until after October 1. But we always bring it to the commission in September to be approved so they can start October 1.
The States Oil building, the district itself, it goes all the way there. Does it go any further down Seaman Street there?
No.
So that's about the end of it then.
That's the end of it, and then it comes back north.
So the newspaper office, they're inside the district. What about across the street? I think, is there the gym? I guess.
No, that's not.
That's
it goes
not.
up the center of the street to the alley right here, and it comes down the alley and brings in City Hall in this area. This other half of the block is not. This block is not. The gym is not.
Okay.
In the district.
I'm not real bright, so when I look at the Conley, they want to repair the 7th, 8th, and 1st floor roof.
Yes.
Should I say ceiling or roof?
No, it's roof. It's the front porch is the 1st floor. It has a drainage issue and it's causing that porch to buckle, so they need to fix that. The 7th is the kind of the walk around off of the 8th floor, causing some problems there, and then some work on the 8th floor roof.
Okay. So it is actually some roof outside.
So
Okay.
It's all.
That's what it said. I was reading about it. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Has this money, I mean, do we have it in our budget to do this?
Aren't we generous?
I'm sorry?
Aren't we generous?
Well, I think that's
Well, it's-
really some foresight.
It's sales tax money.
No, it's hotel.
I mean, hotel
Hotel-
motel
hotel
tax
motel
money. Hotel motel tax money.
Okay.
And you have a piece on your desk that shows since 2011, when this was put into effect, how much has been awarded and how many total projects, total dollars in projects. As at the end of this year, 493,165,000 total project dollars have been invested. The city put $304,958.
So last year we spent $35,000 on.
Yeah, actually last year we went 561 over budget, but we don't say that real loud too, so. But, yes,
And with this, there's still a cushion of 8,000, over 8,000.
yes, yes.
would the Eastland Community Foundation have to go out for bid, or can they just award the job to a local contractor?
No, they have to present the board with at least 2 bids, and the board selects which one they wanna go with. Of course, we wanna go with the local contractor, especially if they're the lowest, so.
I move that we approve the request for the grant application.
Second?
Got a motion from Cecil and a second from Zach to approve the grant request. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 7, discussion and consideration of approval ordinance 21-878, an ordinance annexing the here and after described territory of the city of Eastland, Eastland County, Texas, extending the boundary limits of said city to include the property within the said city limits, and are granting to all the inhabitants of said property to all rights and privileges and others citizens, and binding said inhabitants by all the city acts, by all the acts, ordinances, resolutions, and regulations of said city.
This is just the ordinance that will actually bring Barties into the city limits. It won't be tomorrow, it'll be 30 days if y'all approve this.
30
before
days after the second reading.
After the second reading, yes.
Will we do the second reading next month, or is there any, we don't need to move any faster than that?
And no, we do not need to move any faster than that. That still gives us plenty of time.
I move to
We
pass
wrong.
ordinance number 21-878.
Just for the record, this attached map is not correct, so we need to make sure we all understand what we're doing. That map is not correct.
Nope.
Now, Richard, what was your motion?
I move that we pass ordinance 21-878 for the first reading.
Second.
Got a motion,
I'll second that.
a motion from Richard, a second from Zach to approve ordinance 21-878 on the first reading. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 8, discuss consideration to approve the Cooperative Ambulance Service contract, which hasn't changed evidently.
No, sir. Still $65,000 is our part to provide the city of Eastland with ambulance service. I didn't see anything when I read through this that threw up red flags.
Looks the same.
This will be the effective date will be October 1.
Paragraph 7 says that parties here to agree that hospitals shall furnish to the city and county monthly statements of operation accompanied by a written report on total revenues. Do we get that report?
No, we do not. But
used to.
I think it would be good that we do.
We used to.
yes,
Especially
used
if
to.
we're going to be held accountable for anything above the 65,000 because of revenues not being as they're expected.
that was a question for myself because I haven't seen a report since I've been here.
We used to
About
get
that,
it.
yeah.
We haven't
Well,
lost
I
it.
think we need to.
How long has it been, to your knowledge?
That I don't know. I just
You were
know
a small
it was-
child, I think.
Years?
I've seen them since I've been on here, but it's sure
Yeah, I
not
have too.
monthly.
It's been a long time though.
Sure not monthly. We need to make sure, we need
Well,
to
I
get
think-
all
I
the
think
people
we
that's supposed to
need
give
make
us
an
our
official
report.
request
Yeah.
that they honor paragraph 7.
I agree.
And I believe the county did the same
I've
thing.
been told they're
Also.
I mean, seriously, I mean, the county doesn't pay us on fire support until we give them a quarterly report, so, you know,
Well, who pays them the money and who's looking for the report?
what's that? The city pays them the money,
Who writes that check?
I do,
Who's looking for the report?
we are.
You are. Now we know who's in charge of that, okay? Who signs the check?
Jay and.
Jay, there you go. We got them all wrapped into
We
this
got
deal.
it.
We hung them all on that one.
We got it.
All right. Item number 8, need an approval.
I move we approve the ambulance contract for this year.
Second.
Got a motion from Richard, a second from Zach to approve the cooperative ambulance
Sure, we get
contract
the monthly.
with the monthly report.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 9, turn the page. Discussion, consideration, and second reading of ordinance 21-874, an ordinance of the city of Eastland, Texas, changing the zoning use designation of property described as the south half of lot 5 and all of lot 6, block 4 of the Burkett addition to the city of Eastland from a single-family residence district to a manufactured housing district, amending the zoning district map of the city of Eastland to reflect such change and adopting the zoning district map so amended. This is the second reading.
Yes, sir. This is, Mr. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll second it.
Yeah, I wanna hear what he has to say with more discussion.
Me, Cecil has made a motion.
I second it.
You've made a second. Any other discussion? Go, Tony.
This is just me saying that, this is what we've, looked at last, meeting.
Yeah, I
George
wasn't
St.
here, so I'm
George's
just,
property.
I'm getting the,
It's George St. George, is the owner of the property. When he originally bought the property, there was a there had been a manufactured home on lots, 5 and 6 originally, that, no, I'm sorry, on 6, on the entirety of 6, but it had been, burned down. And when he bought the property, he had it with the intent of putting another manufactured home there. He wasn't told and wasn't made aware until he came to pull the permit that the property was actually zoned single family. It had been zoned in 2007, whenever we adopted zoning, and that messed up his plans. And that was the whole reason he bought the property originally. He is putting a manufactured home there for his daughter to live in to help take care of his aging wife, and we approved it last meeting, and I'm done.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Is that in the flood zone?
No, I think that area right there, cause that's one of the first things we look at, that area right there, I think is up high and out of the floodplain. I know, cause it does kiss right along those edges down there, back towards, going back to the west. But that area right there is out of the floodplain.
Pretty close to the floodplain.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All in favor of second approving the second reading of ordinance 21-874, say aye.
aye?
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 6, discussion, consideration of first reading of ordinance 21-879, an ordinance by the City Commission of Eastland, Texas, adjusting and amending the city's fiscal year 2021 budget.
At the February 16th, 2021 meeting, the commission approved the 3% raise granted employees, and it says on here beginning 3/1, it's actually 3/14, the way the pay periods fell. Was gonna start in March, and I put March 1st on here, but it actually went into effect 3/14, so that it would be half a year's pay periods. And, when we approved the budget last year, there was not an employee raise in the budget because of the uncertainty surrounding different things. And so, at the time the budget was passed, it was said that we would take a look at it mid-year and see if there would be funds for a raise. And Ron brought it to the February commission meeting, and y'all approved at that time that the raise be given. And so
The
this,
recommendation for the upcoming year doesn't have the time,
no, this is starting October 1st. The one for next year is for the whole year, starting October 1st.
COVID did the opposite of what we expected. Sir? COVID did the opposite of what we expected. We expected COVID to hurt us, and everything else that's been in place has actually carried us through and helped us, so.
And so this is just the
Good.
actual budget to put in that, for me to amend the budget as on that page for that wage increase.
What line item number is that exactly?
For the
Are they all of them? Are they,
Yeah, each one
what it
is
is.
separate.
okay, so there's 3% on all of those added, is that right? Part of the budget, okay.
Right,
100 accounts, the one account, 200 accounts, the other one, I think.
Okay, okay.
yeah.
Entertain a motion.
Move, go ahead, Richard.
That we move pass ordinance 21-879, ordinance of the city commission.
Second?
Motion from Richard, a second from Zach to approve ordinance 21-879 on the first reading. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries.
Does the second reading, would that have to be done before October 1?
It does not.
I'm
Since
sorry.
since we've done the first reading, it does not. The first reading had to be done before October
Okay.
1st.
Item number 11, discussion and consideration of resolution 2021-13, authorizing the city manager and mayor to negotiate and execute all leases of hangars and ground space at the Eastland Municipal Airport.
There was some unclear language in our lease agreement from 2006, right? With the airport, just about leasing hangars and stuff like that. To make it more efficient and stuff, we kind of just like, why does every hangar lease need to come before the commission to be adopted when I feel as it's just day-to-day business? But with that being said, I usually take Bodie's recommendations. If he says, yes, we need to lease this hangar, I'm like, okay, I think we need to do that. But if there was ever a time that me and Bodie didn't agree on something, I think it should come before y'all to hear it out and decide on whether the lease should be granted or not. In doing this, that say somebody wanted to lease a hangar tomorrow, instead of waiting for a whole nother month before they could get their hangar, it gives me the right to say yeah and sign off, and we can go on.
Well, then, the way this is worded, is authorizing the city manager and the mayor.
He has to sign off on it too.
I'm sorry?
He would have to sign off on it too.
Okay.
Hopefully he's available before the month is up.
Yeah.
Okay, because it looks like, the reason I brought that up is it looks like that you could negotiate something with
Well, he
for
could,
hangar
that's what the
space.
wording says. He-
And then Larry could also negotiate.
Okay. I understand what you're saying.
That's what the wording says. It's like, I agree, and this is not directed towards you, Larry, but any mayor, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, that authority of negotiating and stuff like that belongs, I believe, upon the city manager. Just like the city manager right now hires and fires, you can't fire anybody, I can't fire anybody. We can fire him, right?
That's not right. You can fire the finance director
And the city
Secretary.
manager, right?
and the secretary, fire those three.
The city secretary,
Secretary, the finance director, and him, we can fire.
I can't fire.
On the chief.
right,
We
right.
can't fire either one of them.
Yes, right. But he hires and
Y'all
fires,
notice
he hires and fires other,
Yeah.
other employees
Well,
and
what this is really about, and I'm the one that asked him to do this, and because it was unclear, and what we're trying to do, and what it really gets, and I don't care that I'm involved in signing it, and I don't really see the wording in here, if there's a problem between the city manager and the airport, then you've got a third party involved. And that's when it would come,
before the board.
it would come before the board, yes. And that's what, that part of that, I'm involved to make sure everybody's playing nice, to know what's going on, whatever. But the big thing is, and it's not in here, if there's a disagreement between the airport director and the city manager, what's the resolution?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it needs to say in here, and that was supposed to be in here, I think, but that it comes before the commission then, and they resolve that. And that, because if there's a disagreement or a problem, we need to know about it. You know, because those people's our
Yeah,
airport.
I agree.
And I don't really have to be involved in signing them, that's the way it's always been done, it's come before them.
Well, I
don't have a problem cleaning that up.
I certainly don't have any problem with you being involved. I was just
Oh,
worried,
no.
I was worried about the,
No, I don't. I wanted in there that if there's a disagreement between the airport and the city, that it comes before the commission. That's all, that's the biggest thing I care about.
but in authorizing the city manager to negotiate for that hangar space, and authorizing you to negotiate for that same hangar space, you know, I mean,
I understand what you're saying.
I don't think that there would be a problem that would arise between you and JJ. But like Zach said, some future mayor,
No, I
They
don't have a
should've
problem.
made it.
I
I'm
agree.
the one authorized for it.
I agree. I agree.
So do you want us to table this and fix
Yeah,
it?
let's fix it, let's clean it up, let's table it. And you can take me out of it, as far as I'm concerned, I don't care. Take the money, just if there's a, what I want in there, if there's an issue between the airport and the city manager, if they don't agree on something for whatever reason, it needs to come before the commission,
Absolutely.
Yeah,
okay? We need to be in, because we may have a city manager someday that, you know, he gets sideways with the airport guy, or somebody wants to come in here that the city manager's in competition of business with, I don't know.
yeah,
Well,
and that doesn't limit you at all in advising,
Well, I don't-
decisions or anything with the city manager.
It's not gonna affect my pay one way or the
You
other.
might put, and you might put it whereas if there's an absence of a city manager, that the mayor can do it in case we're in transition or something sometime, just that way, city manager, if there's a city manager and if something happens.
Well, the way it is right now, if someone has a new lease, right now, it comes before the board, right?
Well, that's what really wasn't clear.
That's
but
what
yeah,
really
I think
wasn't
that they have
clear.
sometimes and haven't sometimes.
Oh,
We're
okay.
trying to clean that up and get the board just,
We're here every month, and if we need to move on something, we can certainly do that, meet and move on it, pretty quick.
But what happens is, like, we had a gentleman in just not very long ago, he sold his plane, and he's wanting to transfer his lease to so-and-so who wants to do it. Well, they don't wanna wait a whole month, this guy wants out from under the lease, this guy wants the lease, Bowie
you
said
can
it's
put
a
in there in
good
the absence
deal.
of the city manager, the
You
mayor
know.
can sign it, can agree to it or whatever, I don't care. But they're just trying to streamline it where we're not waiting for cause if somebody came up tomorrow and wanted to do it, or something started happening this week, and then we're waiting for a whole month, or we've
Yeah.
gotta call a meeting. So that's just to clean it, it's not a big deal. I don't think anybody's gonna go against Bodie, as long as Bodie's out there running, Bodie says what we're gonna do, well, okay.
Yeah.
knock it out there.
Yeah, I
Bodie
agree
won't
with,
always own the airport.
I agree
either.
with him. The way it sounds is it's like you get to negotiate, and you get to negotiate. What happens if y'all cross or if y'all don't agree? Then this is what it sounded like to me when I first
Rock,
read it.
paper, scissors.
It's
No, I don't, that's fine, clean it up where it's clear, and I think any absence of city manager, the mayor can sign it if that's what you wanna do, just to keep it streamlined. And we'll go, clean it up and put that in there for the disagreement between y'all two, it come to the commission. That good?
yeah.
We'll table item number 11 until the next meeting. City manager's briefing.
GLO, the big $10 million. The contracts are sitting in Austin, from what I was told. They are for review. Unknown how long that's going to take, but they are there. The FIF grant, we got the first round of paperwork asking for bank routing numbers and stuff like that, so we take that as a really, really good sign. And from the time of press on this, on the wastewater treatment plant, Texas Water Development Board has moved forward in releasing our excess funds left over from that. We were gonna do with the Highway 6 sewer project to go tie in the 2 grands and, I can't remember the mechanic shop right there, to our sewer line. We've got the go-ahead on that. The line's done out there on the highway, and Jordan Perry with TxDOT. He thinks our sidewalk repairs will be done within the next year. He thinks he's got them in this calendar year, but don't hold your breath. It's TxDOT.
This calendar year, 2022?
21, the end of 21, 22. He thinks.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
We had a kickoff meeting for the airport, next airport project. They're starting some geotechnical surveying, getting dirt samples and all that. Hopefully in the next couple of months, they're really gonna get to moving dirt out there. The concrete pad out there at the water storage tank has been poured. Bobby and them moved the generator, I believe, today out there. Now we're gonna wait on Charles to come wire it in. Switch gear's already there, and we're ready to roll. And we repaired 87 potholes this last month. When I say that's still not an accurate number, we repaired 87 different parts of town. Sometimes there's one, sometimes there's 10 in this section. And that's all I have.
Any questions for JJ?
When are we purchasing the Durapatcher?
Hopefully in the next couple months.
Couple months.
Yes, sir.
Does it take a month to come in, or is that pretty fast once you order it?
If they have it in stock, it should be pretty quick.
Do the code, we'll be here in 2024. Code compliance.
Commissioners, Terry opened August with 41 cases, he had 26 new cases, closed 17, left us with a total of 50. 2 junk vehicles, we had 1 citation that was issued, had 2 properties that were reported for back taxes, had 4 annual notices. Fines assessed 256, we had 462 in fines paid. One of the, I think, is it the fine assessed is the one that's dismissed also?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's on.
So, the fine that's dismissed was the one that he assessed earlier, and that goes to the citation at the bottom. What it was a property that had been, we believe, occupied by someone that did not have water services, that deemed it a dangerous building. The property owner was having a hard time verifying if the same lady that was in there was, still living there. And so, Terry had sent the citation off, and from the time the citation went off, we were able to verify that the person had actually moved out and didn't let anybody know. So we went ahead and, removed that citation and wiped the case. So, and hopefully the landlord is finding somebody else to occupy the structure. As far as, planning, just wanted to mention, we've got the expansion of the townhomes, it's gonna be coming down the pipeline soon, which is good. Talking with, the principals of the company that's putting them in, they have such a demand for these townhomes that they have, people that are putting their college kids in hotels waiting for them to finish these units, and they're already starting to pre-lease these units out. There was such a high demand, they're gonna double that entire facility. And with the doubling of facility, they're talking about putting, greater, amenities in there as well, looking at possibly a pool house, some other things that'll help that project move along. That's a lot of development right there that's happened pretty fast. I had worked with them originally in Mineral Wells, and then they came calling Tom, they called Tom, and he told them that, that there's only so much he was able to do, but was able to put him in contact with the right people, and just was able to make everything for this happen.
So right now they've got phase 1 and phase 2.
Phase 2 is halfway through.
Okay, so that whole complex, you're saying they're gonna double that?
Correct.
Okay.
But they
For
have
now.
and they're 28 and 28 right now?
Yes, sir. It's 28, so roughly 50 units, so we're looking at possibly a total of 100 units, if not more, depending on how they build it out.
Yeah.
They're designing it right now based on the doubling of the demand, but it's so great with them recently that it may even be more. We're just waiting to see what the final plans are.
My daughter's about to get married, and she's got an application in that one, phase 2.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, we've got that, and then also we've got, Ms. Benson downtown's been working on the property on Lamar. She has her first tenant signed and is starting to move, starting to move in to one of the 4 units upstairs, which is great. We did the final inspection on the water for those 4 units, last week on Friday, and passed it, and, so we've got the first person that was already, the plumbers were having to move around the stuff that they had brought up into the unit. They're pretty on fire to get people up in there, and there's a demand for it. So we're excited to see that. They're still kicking around what's gonna be going in downstairs. I haven't seen the final plans yet, but I think they've got some good things coming there, along with another business in the building on the north side of the square, formerly the Carousel building. I think that one's still moving along, correct?
Yeah.
So that's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be bringing some new stuff downtown. So after 5, there's more to do than just the Majestic downtown, which is still great. Tractor Supply, that's a big thing for us too, building out a new facility out there. So we're excited to see that. Also, that means another commercial building will be opening up. I know that we've got some people that have been interested in that area, so, you know, that
So
opens
the,
up more opportunity.
right there at the Bankhead Highway, that'd be the entrance right there, I guess at Hef's Burgers, is that right?
Yes, sir.
So there'll be quite a bit more traffic coming
There
off
will
that,
be quite a
off
bit
that
more
little
traffic.
road.
Mhm.
There's like a huge pothole right there, I mean, it's bad right there.
I think somebody said TxDOT had worked on that, didn't they?
TxDOT, that is something that, TxDOT has some of that right of way back there to a point, and I believe that that's something that they've been working on down there with the people from, Tractor Supply, as they've been demoing the old structures out there and preparing to build the new ones. They gave me the plans last week, and we're finishing up going through them to give them their permit to go with that.
Man, coming off Bankhead Highway in the middle of the day with traffic right there,
Mhm.
that's gonna be tough.
It is. I think that's something that TxDOT was also looking at with all of, you know, all of our lights and stuff to help control traffic down there, that maybe that'll help alleviate some of it whenever we can finally get to that point as well.
You know, Walmart came into town, they put the light right there at Walmart, and that used to not be there because of,
And also, let me say that there, also I guess I can talk about, that there are people that are trying to talk the real estate company to have the owner, the backside of Tractor Supply will be pretty close to where that stub out is at Walmart. So then that leaves some of the traffic coming from Old Bankhead. We're gonna see if we can't switch off them into connecting those properties with that driveway. So then now we have a secondary way to come and go on the property. So it would just help with the flow all the way around, cause yes, you'll have more people going to that specific spot, but if we could help alleviate that, because if you're going to Tractor Supply, you might have to go hit Walmart too, and that'll take you back around the other way.
yeah.
But we dream about expanding our commercial area back into these areas that are out of the floodplain, but we don't really have access, and so with all this developments coming, we're trying to open people's eyes to the possibilities that are back there, just waiting to be opened up. El Reno, pulled a permit to build a new, shop out there at the property, out in Business Park, so we're excited for that to go. And then, new businesses have come to town. I don't know if you guys have been over to All Star Athletics yet. They're taking over, you know,
Coats.
you know, my in-laws' old building. But, it looks pretty sharp in there, and I know that they're excited to finally be running here, and they've just been going gangbusters. And they're open, they can go in there and find some.
They
beer
got more
that
business than they can handle.
My wife's found that place.
I
Well,
found it.
Cecil Blackman is the owner of that property, and he's, from all of our dealings, he's another person that came over this way from Mineral Wells. My wife bought a bunch of stuff from him over there, and whenever he mentioned about expanding, she said, "Well, I happen to know a building that's for sale," and I was able to set that up, but, he was really excited to come out here, and all of our dealings, he's just a good guy to have, and he's one we're glad to have here, I would say.
Yeah.
And Zach, to, you know, you're talking about the traffic coming off Bankhead. TxDOT is working, we're hoping by the end of the year, so kind of what he said. It looks like they've already set up equipment. They're gonna put lights up. Their plan is to put lights up on both sides of 20 right there to help control those intersections a little bit better.
Yeah,
So,
they've been talking about that for years.
yeah.
I think they're finally.
Yeah.
Really?
The TxDOT guy.
So the Bankhead Highway where, Main Street is, I guess there's a little bit of an entrance that they have to do, TxDOT, that the city cannot do. Like if we wanted to pave that area, we'd have to get permission from them or something.
It's on their right of way from the highway, it extends out to the part of the way, yes, sir.
Like maybe all the way to where you enter into Hef's to the left or something, right? It probably goes pretty far.
It's close in there, I've tried to check with the highway department before about where their right of way actually ends, and I'm still waiting to hear back, I've been waiting for about 2 weeks, so.
Do they know the condition of the road? I mean, if it's their right of way and they are in charge of fixing it or repairing it, are they aware of the condition it's in right now?
I believe so, I know that they went out there and put some fresh,
Chip seal on it.
chip seal on it recently, so, and they had done some work in that area recently. So.
And then maybe waiting until Tractor Supply is built, because of all the truck traffic is gonna be.
Yeah,
going in
there's
and
gonna be a
out
lot of equipment coming and going from there, so
Permanently.
it's similar to what we've
Yeah.
done with some other development here, they're waiting, like, Trafalgar and all them, those guys are building out, and we've got that water line that's gonna take care of that section of Lago and stuff, so we're just waiting for everybody to get their ducks in a row and get done tearing it up before we fix it.
I have a question about the apartment complex over
Yes,
at
sir.
Lago Vista. Is that, they're planning on building more
To the south.
to the south?
Yes, sir.
Of that, complex right now?
Yes, sir.
What kind of access are they gonna have there?
They're gonna have their private drive right now that's coming out where their current entrance is. That's the only thing that they've, alluded to so far. I haven't seen anything as far as trying to tie back into that space between them and the existing
Well, I can kinda see it coming that there's going to be heavy traffic going to the back part of it, coming through the parking lot of the front part. And I can see that eventually they're gonna be asking us to put a street in next to it so they can access the back part.
Now, are you talking about the parking for the townhomes themselves or for the other apartments?
No, the townhomes are the front part of it, right?
Yes,
It's up closest to Lago
Mhm.
Vista,
Mm-hmm.
and they're expanding to the south.
Correct.
And all the traffic right now that'll be going to the, apartments on the south will
Mhm.
be going through the parking lot of the townhome.
It'll be on one way in.
Well, there's currently 2 lanes of width to go back and forth, and the actual parking areas are off of that
Okay.
recessed in. So there's no true like parking lot like you would think at like Walmart, but they're having to cut through. They have their 2 lanes going all the way down, and I believe they're just basically gonna mirror them. So the parking will be here in front of the 2 stories, and then the 1 stories will have a 2 lanes that, coming and going that has parking spots in front of the units
Okay.
themselves. So it should, not interfere with parking.
And Logo Vista, the street that they're pulling off of that is planning on getting revamped and
Yes,
with the flood mitigation.
Yes. With the flood mitigation, and also when we were talking about
Yeah.
the new, water line coming through that area, that's also gonna be an opportunity for us to, once that line gets put in, then we can do change the shape of the road itself in order to help facilitate the flood waters being removed back down to where they're supposed to go. So it'll clean it up where people can drive on it, not feel like they're on the moon, and also help water get out of it to keep it from getting torn up again. But that just takes, as soon as we can get the funds to do the projects we've got in line, we'll take care of those.
Hurry up, wait.
Yes.
Anything else for Tony? Thanks, Tony.
Thanks, Tony.
Police Chief David Hull.
Yes, sir. We, continue to have volumes, have, high, calls for service, with over 200 in August. We don't anticipate that that's gonna go down any, it's probably gonna go up in September, or day units are getting just bombarded with calls, and, you guys have heard me say this, at some point in time, we're gonna have to hire another guy, to take care of the call volume. Even with, the training aspect that we had going on, this was our 3rd, highest month on, traffic contact. It was made up a lot by, the warnings, but, I was real proud of everybody that was working, we're working. We're not shorthanded, but we are shorthanded because people were still having to double up. We anticipate that, Zach Sproul, which is a hometown boy, will get cut loose here pretty quick, and, Shane Kiesling is gonna be cut loose, and that's really gonna help us out a lot as far as our manpower and being able to do stuff. We had the active shooter training, went real well, we did it, at the high school, and then we transitioned over to Cisco's, area, high school as well. And, so everybody got a taste of being able to see all these other agencies were able to see both campuses. And, we're real glad to see that. All of our patrol officers were recertified on their standardized, field, sobriety test. And then on the 12th, myself and Mr. Osnick met with officials from Union Pacific about the tracks always being closed, and reserve my public comment. I will tell you
Are you
what
taking like the arm being down all the time, closed?
yeah,
Like the train
and
crossing.
the train being on the other side of it. You know, they smiled and said nice things and said, man, we'll be on there, and walked out the door and said, see you later. So I don't know that, I did appreciate Dr. Rogers though, spearheading that movement to have that meeting, because we had people there from Cisco and from us and from the county. And it's just, we just pretty much told them how frustrating it was that, you know, we're in that situation. We had an overpass or something to be different, you know, but we
Yeah.
don't, you know, so you get an ambulance coming in or whatever, and they don't know that that's blocked, and they gotta try to reroute the other way, you know, so.
And hope it's not blocked there.
I hope it's not blocked there, because I've seen it, I've seen it on, you know, on both
Blocked at both
sides.
intersections.
But, anyway, we're doing real good. We're doing, Eddie Edwards, I'm gonna kinda give him a pat on the back. He got a bunch of sponsors to get us all these baseball cards, and it's got your picture on it, your, you know, kinda your bio, and, you know, your favorite verse, you know, so the kids have been just collecting them just left and right. So even our new guys that got to work the homecoming game had all these kids coming up to them saying, hey, you know, can I get your card? And it's breaching that gap that we've had between us being potentially the disciplinarians and being what we wanna be, the helpers.
Yeah.
You know, and we're here to help you and take care of you. So and the guys are really getting a kick out of it, you know, because they'll have all these kids. Now, everybody wants, Katie Thompson's, card, and everybody wants Buck's card, you know.
Buck has a card.
Yeah, Buck has a card, and so,
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. They care less about having the Chiefs card.
Well, I've said it publicly before, and I'll say it publicly now, since you're the president of the school board, and Dr. Cochran came up with the idea for SRO officers, was absolutely the best thing we ever could have done for our law enforcement. The children and the law enforcement come together to see and to understand what that's all about. And that's really been a plus, because if you've ever seen those kids react with those officers, interact with them, it is really cool. Because that down at that elementary is really special.
Well, and a lot of those kids, you know, are don't have the best home life, and for them to kind of get to know us on a personal level versus what they've maybe been told their entire life, you know, it's making inroads, and hopefully we're making changes in kids' lives, and that's our whole deal. We can make inroads with these kids, maybe it'll cost us less work down the road somewhere, you know.
Yeah.
So.
When you do the active shooter training, who all's involved with that?
What agencies? It was us, DPS, the sheriff's office, and Cisco PD. Those were the primary, agencies that were part of it.
Okay.
The other agencies don't have that many personnel to be able to cut one loose, because they're relying on one guy, you know, to answer calls and stuff.
Okay.
So it was all of us, here at Eastland, and we encouraged them to walk around and go to the different floors of the high school and take a look at it, and then we'll come back and we'll hit either the elementary again or the middle school, because, the first time I went over to the Cisco's, a couple of years ago, was the first time I'd ever been on the actual campus of Cisco. And a lot of those guys had not ever been on our campus, so we have an active shooter event. You daggone sure want somebody to know, hey, this is I recognize that's the library, and that's where they told me to go. So the next time, we had a bunch of new guys, that we were training, but we anticipate working with the fire department on our next, either the middle school or elementary, to cross-train with the fire department in, actual, victim evacuations, you know, where we'll come in and secure a room like this, and we'll establish a safe zone, and then we'll call them, they'll come in, they'll pull the people out, and then we'll go, you know, keep going what we're doing, so. I hope we never have to use that kind of training, but the time for us to be coming up with a plan is not in the middle of the emergency. We need to have all this down in our minds. We're gonna have to rely on the fire department, a lot, because we're a small agency, is if we do have a shooting, they're gonna have to be helping us with crowd control, because you're gonna have all kinds of people trying to get into that scene after it's over. And, so we've already talked to the chief, you know, about different scenarios and stuff, and so we'll work together next time, so.
Good. Anything else for Chief Fellow? All right. Chief Williamson,
First day on the job.
newly hired,
Today.
official. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. This month, last month for August, we made 62 calls for service, puts us right in the median average of what we're attending every month. Brought us 473 runs for the year, and an average 2 calls per day. Twice a day we're rolling out of there. 44 of those incidents occurred within the city limits. 16 took place out in the county jurisdiction, and 2 of those 62 incidents we were in other cities helping them. And I believe this month, that month it was a structure fire in Ranger, and then we had a call that we were called to Gorman. We installed 2 smoke detectors. Again, it is my objective to watch with that number increase. We're starting to come into the fall and the cooler time of year, so that's going to kind of move up as a priority of really reaching to the community and making sure that everyone's protected in that program. 7 of the calls of the 62 occurred after 10 o'clock at night or before 7 in the morning. And again, we attended 1 structure fire, bringing us to 18 structure fires for the year, and a little over 2 a month. We had 3 grass fires, and that number, when we go back up to the 62, typically July and August are our busier months for the drier climate. So our run volume doesn't really reflect our potential runs that we could be making. The weather has been very nice to us this year. 0 vehicle fires, 31 calls to assist the medics out on an EMS medical emergency, 7 motor vehicle accidents, 7 public assist, and then 13 false alarms or some type of investigation of a hazard were called out by the public to look at. We have 3 applications for a membership that are out for the volunteer membership, and we voted on 2 members in the last meeting that we had, and that brings our volunteer numbers up to 18 with the 4 paid staff. So that's our kind of statistics that we participated in August. October is what we're looking forward to. First week of October is Fire Prevention Week, but we're gonna make it Fire Prevention Month by the time we're done. We'll be out and about doing some stuff. So the first thing we have is on October 2nd, we'll be able to participate in the October Rip Fest. We'll have a booth downtown. We'll try to, disseminate some fire prevention stuff, messages, some activities that we got, and we'll also have our the Gator, and we'll be on an EMS standby for the area in that vehicle. On October 9th, please mark your calendars. that will be our fire department's open house. We'll open up to the community and everyone. We'll have different types of activities for all age groups. We're going to try to We're gonna do a vehicle extrication demonstration. We'll have some hoses where the kids can spray waters. We'll have all kinds of different, activities with free hot dogs, and a lot of good stuff there. So October 9th, and you'll be able to, be reminded of that on our Facebook page. Also, the Chamber of Commerce is helping us, to advertise and send that to the public. Last month, we elected our officers in the fire department, and they take seat October 1st, which is different. The fire department, we typically make the election in December, and the officers take their seats January 1st. So next month, I look forward to introducing you to our newly elected officers and their roles in participation in the fire department. The burn ban has been back in effect. And we just want to remind the community that our weather conditions are changing. The summer has been good to us, but we are starting to get into a higher fire risk. Today we watched, we had one of the hottest days, if not the hottest day of the year, and our humidity dropped down the lowest it's been, that we think that it's been all year. So that's where that fire danger starts creeping up, and so please be careful out. We're starting to turn the corner on some of that. So the fire department is going to begin our annual fundraiser with the 25 Days of Christmas gun raffle. The tickets are printed. Those are they just got off the press, so we'll start seeing that activity going around, and we'll be starting that participation with the fundraiser for the fire department. A program that we just started. We met, had some discussion with the medics, the EMS service. We are using our Gator Polaris, little emergency vehicle, we're sitting in the north end zone with the ambulance. So if we do have an injury on the field, we will transport the EMS crew and their supplies out onto the field in our little 4x4 Polaris instead of driving the ambulance out to the field. And we'll also have the ability to remove an injured person back to the medic. So that's kind of new, and we're supporting them, and they're supportive of it. So we're kind of excited to be a part of that. So we'll be in the north end zone with the ambulance to be on the EMS standby for the home football games. Also, we want to remind the community, as we've entered into hunting season and progressing into the deer season, that to be cautious of gun safety. All these messages will be put on the posted on our Facebook page, and just a reminder that alcohol and firearms don't mix. So be aware of gun safety is kind of our public safety announcement for our upcoming this month. And again, we just ask that everybody can watch our Facebook page. It will be sending up reminders of our upcoming events and our public safety announcements. So, thank you.
Good. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
We have a cool down unit, right?
Yes, sir.
How many do you use it often, or how often do you get to use it?
We have it. It's still it's waiting for its initial call out for service. We have gotten with Brian Daniel Jackson to get bids on getting it decaled, and we're gonna work to put the volunteers gonna put a light package on it to be recognized as an emergency asset. But it hasn't been out yet.
There was some talk of it going to Old Rip Fest last year, but of course we didn't have it. And sometimes it's hot out there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it's something that you might entertain and let people get to enjoy it. I'd love to sit in and see how it feels.
Yeah, and and there's a lot of good ideas the volunteers have come up with. As far as we've discussed putting a refrigerator on it. I mean, there's all kinds. This thing is going it's gonna be a neat asset. It's just kinda slow putting it together
Yeah.
and getting the work days that get it where we want it. We've got it, the objective is to have it hooked as a combination unit with the Suburban, if you're familiar with that asset. And the goal there is to have that, Suburban where we have like, minor pharmaceutical, aspirin, eye wash, all different cold pack stuff that when we do get out on these long, events, that, we can have some of the needs of some of the firefighters that and being on some of these long events with different needs.
Yeah.
And so it'll be in conjunction with that rehab trailer is actually gonna be the, radio designation and, works into the command system.
Good, good.
Not a bad idea, though, about having that out there, cause you always have, looks like you always have somebody that's overheated at the rip fest.
Yeah.
You might have to be careful with COVID though. Like they have to have a mask or, there would have to be some kind of a control.
If you had it out there, I'd wanna step in and try it out.
Sure.
I wouldn't wanna get overheated though.
It's easy to do, I mean, you can put a bunch of miles on your feet out there.
I know. Some years it's really hot.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Anything else for Chief Williamson?
Nope.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate you, sir. Thank you.
Good, Big Jay.
Got the municipal court report, and got a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
He's already made it.
Oh, I second it.
You second it.
I'm ready to this.
Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.